Yeah, because it's the start. That's where it all started from. I understand that you can't get to that other level until you start with the foundation. Like I build houses all the time. And when I'm speaking to people about building their house, they always focus on what color paint they're gonna get. They focus on the light fixtures. They focus on the things that's interchangeable. But the thing that you cannot change is the foundation. And so when you're talking about the 9 to 5 or the person that has that job, I'm starting with the foundation of them. I'm going into the beginning of it. And if you don't get past the foundation, then you can never get to the point where you're looking at the windows or what kind of blinds you're going to put in the house or what kind of curtains you're going to put in the house. So the 9 to 5ers, those are the people, in my opinion, they're hardworking people. These are the people that get up every single day. They get up every single day for 8 hours, for 5 days a week, to go to work just so that they can maintain their lifestyle. See, working a 9 to 5, it never gives you enough where you can take your lifestyle to that next level. Now, you got everybody, they hope for that in the 9 to 5 career. They want that, they wish for it, but they just don't know how to get it. So the job actually tells you like, hey, you can get it if you get promoted, but you got to do X, Y, and Z before you get promoted. But the harsh reality is, even with the police department, you got 15,000 people on that job, but there's only maybe 50 positions for that next promotion. So you got 15,000 people fighting for this one promotion. And the crazy part is that when they really get to that position, if they get promoted, it's still like dangling a carrot in front of your face. It's kind of like you think that that's going to give you more, but it's actually not. So you're still saying, okay, well, I need to get to that next level. And then I need to get to that next level. So you keep working harder. Next thing you know, 20 years done pass by in your life. 20, 30 years pass by, and you've put your whole life on hold just for that promotion to come. And sometimes if you get it, it doesn't do anything for your life like you thought it would. And if you didn't get it, then now you're still in the same position you was 20 years ago. So that's why I think I like to start with the 9 to 5ers, because I work with them. I know exactly what they're feeling. I know how they want more for their families. They just don't know how to get it. So I figured that if I created a way to show you how to get it and let you still keep your 9 to 5. See, everybody's not ready to quit their job. Everybody's not ready to take that leap of faith. I didn't take that leap of faith, but what I did, I created a system where it was like, hey, no matter what, I can still keep this job and I can still create a lifestyle outside of this job. So what I did, I promoted myself. Every time they gave a promotional test, I bought a property. I didn't never let these people have that much control over my life. If you just think about it, they already have control over your life. They have control over what school your kid's going to go to. Why? Because you only can live in a certain area because they only pay you a certain amount of money. And because you live in that area, then your kids go to that school district in that area. So now that job has control over your children's education. They have control over where you travel. Why? Because they pay you a certain amount of money that says you can only travel to these places. No one should have that much control over your life. And that's why it was so important for me to create a course that will definitely help out the 9 to 5 person, because that 9 to 5er, they want another kind of life, but they just don't know how to go about getting it. And so now the thing that's holding them back from living the life that they always dreamed of is income. So if I showed them how to get more income while keeping their job, then they can still maintain their job and they can still live the type of life that they want to live while working that job. When I was putting this course together, I kind of had to go back into time. I had to go back 20 years into time and then say for myself, like, what was I feeling? What happened to me where it said, okay, man, Jemal, you got to do something different. And it was the exposure that I got. And see, most people if you look at your friends, you look at your 5 closest friends, they pretty much are similar to you as far as lifestyle, as far as income, as far as education level, everything about your group. People go to those people that's similar to them. And so it's not that often. Like, see, I was blessed to have a friend that actually made it to the NFL. And he was a starter. He was making tons of money. I realized over time that most people, 99% of people, are not going to have people in their circle that's like that. And so they're not going to get that type of exposure. See, I thought that I was living cool. I thought that everything about my lifestyle was gravy because everybody around me, had the same things. So I just thought we were doing it. I thought we were at the top. But it wasn't until I stepped out of my circle and then went to another circle and saw exactly how other people are living. And so my whole purpose right now is to expose everyone that is more out there. It's to expose everyone that, hey, it's people out here making tens of thousands of dollars passively without doing anything. And they're taking that money and they're living this kind of way. They're taking this money and they're doing this for their children. They're retiring their spouse because they're making money from this passive income that's coming around. So my whole main purpose is to expose everybody just like I was exposed, because I understand that 90% of the population will never get this type of exposure unless somebody like me or how my friend brought it to me, unless I bring it to the audience out here. Look, it's crazy because 20 years ago, the internet, YouTube wasn't around. And so the only exposure you got, you had to get like hands-on exposure. Yeah. But nowadays, there's no excuse. Right. You can get exposure from the internet. You can get exposure just from all around you nowadays. This is the information age right now. Right. So it's totally different than what I had to get 20 years ago. I had to get hand smack in your face exposure, which is totally different than now. Right. But, I tell people all the time that you have to go after exposure. Like most broke people go after liabilities. Right. You have to get it at all costs. That's what changes you the most. Right. When it was like a slap in the face when I saw how he was living. Mm-hmm. When I saw the house he was living in, when I saw the community he was living in, when I saw how much money he was getting. Right. And I just said, if I did not do something different in my life, if I didn't make a change in my life, then my family would go without having. And I wasn't okay with that. You got to get to that point where you're not okay with it, where you sick and tired of being sick and tired. And you're just like, man, my family deserves this too. We got one life to live. We got one life to live. That's the key word, live. And so that's why it was so important for me to expose. And I want to show people that you really can live your life, and not just showing them that you really can live the life that you have, but I want to give people hope. I want people to say, man, I thought that, I've been working my job for the last 20 years. I thought that this was all I was ever going to have, but now because of this course, I see a way out. I see something different. I see something where it can just change, give me a little relief. And that's what this course is all about. First thing, I actually was always listening to Les Brown. Yeah. And I actually was getting a cassette tape sent to my house for Les Brown. Yeah. And I remember when YouTube first came out, I was listening to Les Brown on YouTube, but I didn't have to wait for the cassette tapes anymore. And then somebody did a mixtape where I heard Les Brown, and then I heard somebody else on there just yelling on Les Brown video. And I was like, man, how dare somebody put their voice on here with Les Brown? Right. And then the more I listened to it, I was like, whoa, this dude sounds kind of fresh. Yeah, And so then I looked at the bottom, at the end of the credits or whatever, and it had on there Eric Thomas. Yeah. And then I Googled Eric Thomas, and then I seen several videos pop up of him. Right. And then that's when I heard the Google story. And then I instantly became an Eric Thomas fan. And then that's when I said, wow, when is Eric Thomas, is he doing anything? How could I meet this guy? Because I heard Les Brown. Les Brown's the only speaker that I ever went and seen and listened to. And then so when I found out he was coming out with his own first conference, I was Jimmy on the spot right there. And just to get that exposure, I was already doing things in real estate. I was already doing things in business. But because I said, okay, I know the value of exposure. And I think that's the problem. A lot of people don't put value on exposure. People don't really place a value on exposure. For me, you can't put a price tag on the amount of exposure that I got. Right. I am the spitting image of all of the exposure that I got over the years. Here it is. I never looked to be a speaker. I never looked to even be on stage. But because I made that investment, because I stepped outside of the house, I didn't just sit back and say, I'm going to just keep listening to Eric Thomas on YouTube. I didn't say I'm just keep getting these tape cassettes that I got already from Les Brown. I'm just going to keep listening to that. I actually went to the conference just to sit in the audience, not wanting anything from him. Not wanting anything, not saying, hey, man, can you check out my tape? Hey, I want to be a speaker. No, I just wanted to be in the building. I just wanted to get that exposure from it. Just because you can't see a tree growing doesn't mean that something is not taking place under the ground. And so for me, as I was going to every single conference, not knowing, I got people asking me all the time, like, man, how did you never took a class of being a speaker? You never got training. Like, how was it that you were able to do it? By going to every single conference. Something was taking place inside of me organically without me even knowing that something was taking place. Something was taking place, listening to the rhythm of a speaker talk, listening to the eye contact, the movement of a speaker. Listening to speakers talk passionately with their heart and not really with their brain. So I organically picked up every single trick that came about. And the crazy part is I never practiced it. Never. But when the time came, I was prepared. It's kind of like Karate Kid. Where he had him doing all of this different things, wax on, wax off. And when Daniel's son actually went into a fight and he was doing these things and didn't know why he was doing it or how he was doing it, but he was prepared for that moment. But that preparation didn't come during the fight. The preparation came with years and years and years of practice without even knowing that you're actually doing it. And so that's the same thing, it was with my life, just that exposure of being around speakers. Anything and everything that you want to do in life, just get around that group of people. Get around them. If you want to be a failure in life, get around a bunch of failures. And guaranteed you're going to pick that up organically. You're going to pick up being a failure in life organically just because that's who you're hanging around. That's why it's so important to watch the circle or the group that you're hanging around. It's even important even to guard your ears. You can't even listen to everything because organically it's going to resonate inside of you, inside of your spirit. And that's what you're going to become. You're not even going to know why you feel so angry. You're just listening to all type of just gangster rap. You just want to hurt somebody. You don't even know why you want to hurt somebody, but it's because that's what you're putting inside of your head.
That's what you're listening to.
So man, that's why you got to be careful. And that's why I felt it in my spirit that I needed to hang around people like this. And it's crazy because what I tell people all the time is that exposure is a two-way street.
Yeah.
I used to always tell CJ, like, man, I'm not a speaker. I'm not a speaker. But CJ would have me hanging around speakers. He would have me hanging around E. He would have me hanging around himself.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, I became a speaker.
Yeah.
Eric Thomas used to always say, I'm not a businessman. I'm a speaker. This is what I do. I'm a speaker.
Now he's a businessman.
And then, but yet CJ hit him hanging around businessman, hanging around myself, hanging around. And so the same way how I organically got the rhythm of being a speaker, E now has the rhythm of being a businessman, and he's killing it on that front. So that's why exposure is a two-way street.
Yep.
And that's why you got to be careful on who and what you're getting exposed to, because it just might rub off on you. When we really sat back and thought about it, it's true. I made just as much money in business than I did in real estate over the years. But the one thing, though, the key component was every business that I've ever started was birthed from real estate. And so we said, let's go about this. Let's go about your brand. Let's go about it the same exact way that, you did with your real estate. Yeah, because real estate is where it all started. When you look at every single business that I've ever created, real estate was the start of it. And we took money from the real estate and funded the business. And so we said that we were going to go after my brand the same way. Real estate is the start of it. Real estate is the foundation. And then now once we make this foundation of real estate, and it's the same thing for people, right? It's a lot of people that never thought about being real estate investors. And I'm okay with that. Some people like, Jemal, I don't want real estate. But also there's them same people that might have a great business idea and it might work, but they just can't get the money. They went to the banks and the banks denied them. So I'm just showing you like, hey, remember, go have a purpose for every property you purchase, right? So your purpose is to start a business. Well, instead of sitting back and letting the bank shoot down your dream, why not just go to your portfolio and then refinance it, pull cash out of it, and use that money to fund your business? Right. So that's the same thing I did with all my businesses. I never had to go to the bank. I went to the bank one time to get a loan on a daycare center, to start a daycare center. And they looked at me, I was in my police uniform, and they looked at me, and I'm 6'3", 225, and they looked at me like, what do you want with a daycare center? I'm going out, I want to start a daycare center. But thank God I had enough money in my portfolio, in my properties. I was able to refinance the equity, pull it out, and use that money to start my business, which that business started generating over $100,000 a month. Right. And then I was able to take that money and purchase more real estate. Right. And so now we had a circle going. We kept the money just flowing. Yeah, I just remember one day going to the bank. And that same time, when I went to the bank, I remember they wanted to see my portfolio. I didn't know what a portfolio was at the time. I heard that name, but I didn't really know I thought a portfolio was dealing with pictures. Come on, I'm keeping it real. Right. I was like, pictures? What you? Yeah. And then my real estate broker at the time, was like, oh yeah, they want to know what properties you have. They want to know what's the value of the property, how much you owe on the property, what's the net worth, how much money you have left over, the equity in the property. And then once they added up the equity in each property, then that came out to your net worth. And so that was the first time. I was about 26 years old. That was the first time I found out that I was a millionaire. I'll never forget. I remember sitting there at the bank and I had my portfolio. I was in my full police uniform. Yeah, I didn't know I was a millionaire. I'm a police officer. And I'm a police officer that owns some properties. And I remember going in there and he looked at my portfolio. And like I said, I was in full uniform. He looked at the portfolio, then looked up at me, looked down at the portfolio, then looked back up at me. And he was like, and before that time period, this banker used to always call me Officer King. And I'll never forget that very moment. He looked back down and looked back at me and he said, Mr. King, you're a millionaire. And I remember looking at my uniform, I had my badge on. I was like, I am? And he was like, yeah, you're a millionaire. He was like, you have a net worth of $1.7 million. And he was like, wow. And I was shocked myself. I was like, wow. And he actually told me like, we won't give you a loan on this business, to start up a new business, but we can definitely refinance your properties and give you some cash to,
because you have credibility.
Because you got assets.
Right.
See, right now with your business idea, and you might be the best cook out there, the best chef. You might have the bomb pies, or cakes, or whatever. But nobody's going to give you a business loan because you don't have any history.
Right.
You might be great at what you do with your business idea, and it could probably revolutionize the world. But because it's a brand new business, nobody's going to give you the loan to start your business up because they have no asset. They have nothing to hold against you. But see, when you have real estate, that's an asset now. That's a tangible asset that you have, and it has equity in it. And they will give you a percentage of that equity and allow you to take that money, whether it's a home equity line of credit or whether it's a refinance cash out, and they allow you to take that money and use that money and put it down on your property, on your business. Anytime you're thinking about making a real estate purchase, it just sounds scary, right? Even if that purchase is $100,000, it's just like, whoa, $100,000. Like I only make $40,000 a year on my job. Like where would I get $100,000 from? But what people don't really realize is that the bank is going to give you the money. See, this is totally different from the type of purchase that you would have made if you were going to buy your house and things like that. See, this is an asset that produces income. So the bank takes the money, the income that this asset is going to produce, they take that into consideration. And so there's a lot of lenders out here that will only charge you 10%. 10%. They'll give you the money to purchase the property. They'll give you the money to fix the property up. And your responsibility is only to bring 10% of the overall purchase and renovation costs. And so, so a lot of people, if they knew that, and that's what this course is about, is to show you the tricks of the trade, show you what's out there. And some of these programs been out here. You have some lenders that'll loan you money at 20%, 25%. But in my course, I show you how to find the lenders that have you bring the minimal amount of money needed to purchase the property. And they're going to give you the money to fix the property up. I get a lot of messages on social media where people are like, hey, Jemal, I can't wait to get in real estate. Man, I'm about to take my broker's license. And man, I want to do exactly what you do. And I let them know, like, I've never took a class a day of my life. Like, I'm a real estate investor. I am a real estate investor. Now, it's several different positions to be in real estate. Like, you can make money as a real estate agent or real estate broker. You can make money as a project manager, property manager. You can make money, but I always say the real estate investor makes the most money. That's the person who everybody else works for them. So I'm a real estate investor. I don't have any licenses. I didn't take any classes. This is I'm building a portfolio and I have a team of people that's helping me build a portfolio that's taking care of my family. It's taking care of our lifestyle. And when I pass, that's the great thing I love about real estate. When I pass on, I can pass on this portfolio to my children, and God willing, it will take care of them the same way it take care of us over the last 20, 30 years of our life. So the thing that's required, I always say that the only thing that's required for you being an investor, you have to have a vision. You have to have the vision. So if you just think about it, you got a whole team of people. You got your real estate brokers, you got your loan officers, your hard money lenders, you have your attorneys, you have your project managers, property managers, you have, this whole team, your insurance brokers. You have this whole team of people that's there for you to help you out, help bring about your vision. Your vision. That's your responsibility, and your job is to make sure that the team knows exactly what it is you're looking for. You have to give them direction. And I always tell people, if you don't give your team direction and tell them what it is you're looking for, they're going to show you what they think you should have. And you got to remember, it's a business. It's a business for them. So just because they're bringing properties to you, this might not fit what you want in life. This might not fit the vision or direction you have for your family. So your number one job, and this is, to me, this is the hardest position on the team. You have to come up with the vision. You got to call the play, so to speak. If you just think about a team atmosphere, you have to call the play, run the play into your team. And then now all of a sudden you coming in with the play. Hey, this is what we're looking for. And then your team breaks on 3. And then now they out the door back on the field to go ahead and execute the play that you called. Yeah, but one big reason that stands out in my head is that if I just went back to a lot of my college teammates that played football, a lot of them got hurt, right? They had this lifestyle that they created. I mean, they were really doing it. They were living that type of life that one could only dream of. But then all of a sudden something happened. They tore ACL, some type of contract dispute. And then that lifestyle just was gone in like a blink of an eye. It was just taken away from them. It was taken away from their mother if they bought their mother a house. It was taken away from their children if their children was in a special school or not. They had to totally change their lifestyle now because their income no longer fit that. And I was like, whoa. I was like, that's scary. That's scary that here it is, you created this life and now it just got taken away from you. So I was like, this is really no different from just having a job. And so I said, what business or what can I do that will surpass me? Meaning that not only did I not want the lifestyle to be taken from me, but I didn't ever want it taken from my children either. So I was like, what is it that I can do that can just last? And I was like, man, I was just sitting back thinking about a whole bunch of different stuff. And I was just like, man, like what's been around the longest and not going nowhere? I mean, I see how the internet done wiped out things. I see how Amazon wiped out, big box stores. But I was just like, what industry can that's going to be around that people can't really just wipe out? And when I thought about it, I was like, man, the thing that's been around the longest, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Real estate. Real estate. Real estate has been here since the beginning. People are always going to need a place to live. I wasn't directly exposed to being coached by somebody, but was I exposed to it? Absolutely yes, because real estate is everywhere. It's everywhere. We're sitting in real estate right now. Absolutely. Everything is real estate. And so real estate is everywhere. So yes, I'm exposed to it. And the thing about it, everybody is in real estate already. I always say if you're renting, you own, you leasing, whatever it is you're doing, you're part of real estate. What side of the register do you want to be on though? And so I saw that how people were paying rent to someone, right? People was like, I go to my friend houses, they lived in apartments. And sometimes I'd be over their house when we were younger. And I remember some older guy that didn't look like he was part of the family. They would always pay him money on the first of the month. And I was like, why are you giving this guy money? But this guy owned the building that they lived in. And so real estate always intrigued me. I always was like, wow. So this guy only comes around once a month though. But now I see people going to work though 5 days a week for 8 hours a day. And they were getting their check, every 2 weeks. And it never seemed like it was enough. And then they would take that check and give it to that man that came over once a month. So I was just like, who is that guy? I know Santa Claus come once a year, but this man come once every month. And he collects. Santa Claus bring gifts. This man taking money. So who is this guy? And so it kind of had me thinking like, wow, this is something, because police officers that I work with, in order to make extra money, they would go work 2 or 3 part-time jobs. And you got to love how they call it part-time jobs. But they go to it every day after they get off of work. And I was just like, man, what kind of life is that? Like, what kind of life? Just think about the cause and effect, right? Just think about the effect of your wife. You got a spouse and you're at 2 or 3 jobs. And now in that person's mind, though, they're thinking that, hey, I'm taking care of my family. I'm doing for my wife. I'm paying the bills. You know, I'm doing everything I got to do as a man or as a woman. I'm taking care of my family. I'm feeling good. I'm bringing home the groceries.
Yeah.
But you're not home.
Ever.
You bringing home the groceries, but you're not home.
Ever. Never.
And it just, I said that I never wanted that. I wanted to be present in my family's life. That meant something to me. But yet I still wanted to make that extra money, that part-time money, right? But I wanted all of my time.
Right.
I wanted my time. See, man, the one thing I realized over time is that time is your greatest asset. It's not money. But the more money you get, it helps to buy that time. It helps to put a fence around that time that you have. Time with your spouse, time with your children. And I know that a person, and I've seen it over the years, a person never really sees in the beginning the effect of not being home, not being present in their children's life. But then later on, that kid now is regretting them in some kind of way, like you was never there. But yet, I'm seeing both sides of it though, right? I'm
right there with that.
Yeah.
I'm on that scenario.
Yeah, I'm seeing the other side too though.
Right.
The other side where that parent is like, man, you ungrateful child. Like, I'm busting my butt for you. I'm working 2, 3 jobs just so that you can live the way you want to live.
Yeah.
And that child is like, I just wanted you. But on the flip side, you got a person that's not, a parent that's not working those 2, 3 jobs, and yet they're present in their child's life. And that child is still pissed off because they like, we don't ever have nothing. We don't have nothing at all. And it's just like, man, why you here all the time? Why you not out working and making money for us? We missing out. We don't have, you know, we're not getting Christmas gifts, the G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip like everybody else is getting. And so it's just, I was like, you can't, man, you know, either way you go, you're going to lose in that kind of world. So I was just like, man, I have to come up with a way where we can still get that. And I'm able to afford the things, of, you know, to give my family this type of life. But yet at the same time, I want to be present to enjoy it with them. See, that's important. I want to enjoy this life with them. I want to be there every step of the way. You know, I want to live. I want to live. And I want to live to the fullest. I want to get the full experience of life, and I want my family to experience that. And I want us to experience it together. That means something. And so that's why I felt that real estate, because it's a business that you don't have to be physically present inside of. You know, in the beginning, you have to come up with the vision. You have to have the team in place to help you execute that vision. And then now you have to have the ongoing team in place, the property managers, to make sure that the property is still now cash flowing and everything is working. In real estate, in the beginning, I was just putting anybody in my properties. I'm talking about anybody. I was thinking that everybody was just good. You know, everybody was just nice people. And I was just putting anybody, you know, somebody's boyfriend or whatever just got up out of jail. You know, I just did. Yeah, it's, right. I'm talking about 2, 3 felonies, their kids, their children. I just was like, I didn't care how many people was in an apartment. It could be a 2-bedroom apartment. It'd be about 6 people living in the building. And I didn't really care. I felt like I was just, you know, being nice and just kind of like, hey, I was just happy to own real estate. But now I see that over time that can put a lot of wear and tear over your properties. And so, yeah, man, I didn't run background checks on people. I was just happy to own property. And it's crazy because I started out, I was so young. I was 22 years old. And so everybody else was way older than me, all my tenants. And so I kind of felt like I was going in, you know, treating people like I was just, you know, a kid. And they were just older than me. And so I was just letting things pass that now as an adult, I definitely wouldn't do. Yeah, I think in the beginning, I was just treating real estate like I was saying, I just wanted my bills taken care of. I didn't never think that it was going to be a business for me. I didn't view it as that. I just viewed it as like, okay, cool. My bills are right now, they total $5,000. So I need to get enough real estate so it can net me $5,000 and take care of my bills. So that my police check now can just go in my pocket and be my little pocket change money, you know? And so it wasn't until, and I think it was when that banker told me that I was a millionaire. Like I never got into it to be a millionaire. I just wanted to live like a millionaire. I never got into it to be a millionaire. I just wanted to live like a millionaire. And then when he actually told me that I was a millionaire, then I said, wow, I just became a millionaire at 26 years old without even trying. I didn't have any direction. Something I was doing, just trying to pay my bills. So by just trying to have enough real estate to cover my bills, I became a millionaire. And so I said, wow, what would happen if I actually take this serious? Like what could really happen?
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that's in business, been in business for years, and they not a millionaire. And so I said, wow, this is a real business.
Right.
And I said, and the great part about it is it's only a small amount of people attached to it. It was only myself at the time.
Right.
So here it is, I made $1 million. I had my team, but that was transactional. For every property that I purchased, they got their money.
Right.
And so it wasn't something I had to pay out every single month until I got a property manager.
Right.
And so once I became a millionaire with it, I said, let me take this serious. And I was very intentional and direct on now taking that 1.7 to 2.7 to 3.7 to 5 to 10. So yeah, so I think that's when I really hit that aha moment when I was in the bank and I was like, wow, I became a millionaire. And I think, man, it's crazy when you look back in time, everything happens for a reason. And there was a reason why I was there. This bank was right across the street from the police station I worked at. And I was there in my police uniform.
Yeah.
And I think it was symbolic at the
Right.
time where it was like, wow, I became a millionaire while working a 9 to 5. Because my mindset was way past that.
Okay.
I'm thinking generational. And see, that's the thing. With this, I got into this because it really wasn't about me. Remember, I wanted a certain kind of lifestyle for my family.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to make sure that this thing continues for my family.
Right.
You know, we have to get out of me, that type of mindset.
Right.
And in order, and I think, and it's crazy because I became a millionaire by not really thinking about me.
Right.
I was purchasing property so that my children could go to a special school and they can get the type of education that I could only dream of.
Yeah.
So I wanted to retire my wife so that she could be at home with our kids or do whatever it is in life that she wanted. I didn't want my wife to have this stress.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a selfish mentality. And that's how your mindset has to be when it comes to generational wealth. So I said, I'll continue to work my job so that I can make sure that all these other pieces are in place first. We wasn't looking at, I wasn't happy about, and that's the problem with some people. Some people make 1.7 million or whatever, and they like, oh, I made it. Oh my God, hey, I can quit my job right now.
Yeah.
But if you think about it now, if you quit your job, when you start adding up insurance, you know, medical and all these other things, now that 1.7 now becomes maybe, 1.3, it goes backwards.
Right.
And so what I remember researching was that every millionaire has at least 7 streams of income. And so the police department, even though it was the lowest stream of income that I had at the time,
Right.
it was still a stream of income.
Right.
And the only reason why I left the job right now is because I actually have 7 streams of income outside of the department. The police department made 8. So, okay, no, I need to get rid of you now. You're 8.
Right.
So, but yeah, I have 7 streams of income. So you never know. And then the thing about it, I didn't have anybody that was kind of a model for me, right? I was like the proprietary one. I was the first one when it came to real estate in my family, other than somebody just owning their own home. So yeah, I was making money at the time, but I didn't know that 20 years from now I'd be in a position that I'm in now.
Industry.
Yeah, the first step was to actually get in the game.
Okay.
And so I remember my first property, I looked at 77 properties. 77. Now it's crazy because I talk to a lot of people now that's in real estate or, I'm training in real estate. And now the listings, the email listings get sent to your phone, right? And so it has the properties that you possibly want to purchase and they all come to your phone and you could click on the property and you could look at all like maybe 20, 30 pictures of the property. And then I talked to somebody once before and I was like, man, I looked at 77 properties before I purchased my first one. They was like, yeah, I'm on number 60 right now. I was like, you looked at 60 properties? They're like, yeah, the emails, I had about 60. I was like, no, I actually physically went inside of these properties
Right.
and actually looked at these properties, touched the walls, walked on the floors. And I think that helped me to gain the knowledge of looking at what I don't want, looking at the type of property that I don't want. That helped me to understand how I would fix a property up. And actually, it gave me the idea of like, this is what I do want. This is the type of property that will rent fast. This is the type of property that a person would want to stay at,
Yeah.
things like that. Oh man, that's easy. My first one.
Why?
My first one. You never forget your first, Nikki.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
And so, my first property, and it's because, and that's why it's so important. That's why this course is so important, because there's a lot of people that want to get in real estate,
Yeah.
but your first deal is the one that's going to make you or break you.
Yeah.
That's the one that tells you if you're going to keep going to number 2 or not.
Yeah.
If you had a terrible experience on your first one, chances are 90% of the population will stop right there. Oh, and you're just going to say, oh man, real estate is not for me. Oh, it was terrible. Oh my God, I had a bad experience. But if you're successful on that first one, if you're successful, I'm talking about if you're bringing in, what you were looking to make on this property of $1,500 to $2,000 every month, like clockwork, you refinanced the property, was able to pull out $20,000, $30,000. You're like, oh my God, this is the best thing since sliced bread. Like I literally need to do this again.
Right.
So that's why it's so important to have a system. It's so important to have education, have something to model yourself off of so that you don't mess up, so that you don't have all these mishaps, because that first one can steer you to the left or the right. And so that's what this course is all about, because I want to make sure that your first experience is a great one so that you'll come back for more. And he was just like, bro, like, just think about this, man. It's a father. It's a father that want to take care of his wife the same way you did. It's a father that want to take care of his children the same exact way you did. It's a woman out there that just need a little bit of help, just needs just an extra hand, and they're waiting. You possess this information inside of your head, and you just keeping it for your family. Like, bruh, God did not put that in you just to keep for yourself. Yeah. He's like, bruh, somebody right now, they just waiting on you. They waiting on a word from you, and it can change their whole situation. Nikki, the number one cause for divorce is finances. So if I can show a family how to make some extra finances, how to make some extra money, this course could possibly save a marriage. So when he broke it down like that, I was like, whoa, this is deeper than just money. This is deeper than just, helping somebody to make a little bit of money. This is about saving marriages. This is about saving your time. This is about saving your children. This thing goes way beyond just making money. And I think that's the difference between this course and all the other courses that's out there. They're teaching you how to make money, right? This course is not only teaching you how to make money, but it's teaching you how to make time. Time with your spouse, time with your children, time for yourself. It's breaking down those barriers. Why is it that we have to, who said, where is that written in the Bible that we're supposed to work every single day for 8 hours a day and then come home and then pay bills?
Right.
Where is that written? Like, who started that? Right. Everybody's not living like that.
Right.
Everybody's not playing by those same rules that we play by or that we've been told, when we got our 9 to 5. Yep. And so I just want to open up the door and just give people hope, man. I know what hope can do. I know how it can change, how you can wake up every single day feeling different about yourself because now you got hope for the future. Yeah. When you're working with some of these 9 to 5s, it's the same thing every day. It's the same thing. You get up, you go to work. Dude, the conversation is even the same. The same people every single day at the same time used to say the same thing. Hey, how about that weather? Hey, it was the same conversations. And then when you get paid, your check is the same. Everything about your life becomes repetitive. And so what this course will do is help you to get that extra push, give you another out to just change up some things in your life. Yeah, so I would say the first person that I would say where I said, man, this works was myself. I'm living proof of it. And so it's not one of them courses where, I am a member too, right. But I would just have to say, I've helped out police officers over the years. I've helped out so many different 9 to 5ers, do this. But just in the recent time period, I would say with Carl. Yeah. With Carl, here it is. In less than a year's time, Carl met with me and he told me like, hey, Jemal, like, man, I have $5,000 of debt. That's what it costs to be me. That's my lifestyle. To maintain the standard of living that I have is $5,000 a month. And at that moment, I was like, bruh, like, and I'm with ETA now, but I'm saying if anything ever happened to ETA, like if anything happened to your job, and this is just a question just for anybody, and really think about this. If anything happened to your job, to your main source of income, what will happen to your lifestyle that you created? Like that was a question for me that I constantly asked myself on my job. And so with Carl, he was just like, whoa, like, man, if I lost my job or if anything happened to the company, he was like, bruh, I would lose everything. Right. And I was just like, bruh, there's no reason why, your wife should have to work a double job now because you lost your job. Right. There's no reason why your kids should have to leave their private school because you lost your job, man. And so at this point, I broke it down for him and I said, hey, look, I tell you what, The same way how I bought a building for every building I have, I'm going to show you how we're going to come up with this. And I'm going to show you how to identify the right properties that's going to net you that $5,000. And I said, trust me, once you get to that point, you're going to feel like a whole new person. I was like, bro, not only you, but your wife going to look at you different. I was like, it's security on top of security. You already got your job with your job security. But I was like, but now this is going to give you security on top of your job security. And in less than 1 year, Carl purchased 3 properties, and all 3 properties were actually here in Chicago. And with the 3 properties, he nets a total of $5,000 a month net cash flow off those 3 properties. And he did that within a year's time. So just look at how his life changed in that 1 year's time. That's what I'm saying. And Carl is not, I don't think Carl is going to be some big time real estate investor and own a portfolio of 100 properties. Yeah. But right now for Carl, his love language was he wanted to get enough real estate where if anything happened to him or his job, his family would be straight. Just think about that feeling, knowing that your family is straight in death. There's no reason why if you pass away that your family's hopes and dreams should go in the grave with you, right? They should still be able to live. Yeah. You should still be able to take care of your family from the grave. And that's what this is all about.
How quick?
Oh, absolutely. I can name a bunch of them, but I'll start with this one guy. His name was Andre Willis, right? So Andre was about 56 years old, right? And Andre was working 2 to 3 part-time jobs. And me and Andre, we worked in a jail cell together. And I remember we used to sit up and he would see me always looking at real estate listings. And Andre just one day just was like, hey man, what is it that you do, man? He's like, you always looking, in the lockup, we got TVs in there so you could watch the game. You got the prisoners all to the side. And he'll always be watching the game, on the internet, things like that. He would always see me on listings. And he's like, man, what's that you got going on? And I'm like, oh man, I'm in real estate. You don't want to deal with this. You got your own thing going on. And Andre was just like, man, that's pretty cool, man. Like, man, one day when I retire, one day has taken so many people out. That word, one day. Right. And it was crazy because like a month later, Andre came back to me and he was just like, bro, I got to talk to you. And I was like, what's going on? He was like, man, I went to the doctor. I wasn't feeling well. I went to the doctor and they told me that I had cancer. And I was sitting up like, but he wasn't even tripping on the cancer part, right? He was like, man, it's stage 2, they said we caught it early, but he was like, the scary part for me is I'm about to go through chemo. Yeah. And I had to hit the medical on this job, which thank God the police department medical, they pay you 100% still. Praise God. But the problem is Andre created a lifestyle for himself that was all based off of the 2 part-time jobs that he had. And so being on a medical, you can't work your part-time. Plus he would be too weak to work his part-time jobs. Yeah. So now his house note, car note, his daughter's tuition, his standard of living was based off of his 2 part-time jobs and his police salary. Yeah. So I remember Andre came to me and he was like, man, I remember you was doing that real estate stuff. Man, I need to really learn this real estate stuff. And so I went, sat with Andre, broke down the whole system, asked him how much was his lifestyle, how much did it cost to be him? And we put together this whole plan. And I remember Andre, it's crazy because I got multi-unit buildings, 4 units, 6 units, 8 units, 12. Andre had like this love for townhouses, and the first property Andre got was a townhouse, and he purchased it. I walked him through the whole process, the same thing that's in the course, and Andre netted $1,000 off this house, off his first property. And so he was just like, man, I need another one because I make $2,000 off of my part-time work. So then all of a sudden we did another property. We refinanced that property, pulled his cash back out, put it on another one. And then this other property netted him another $1,000. So now Andre had 2 properties and he was netting $2,000 a month, which replaced the money that he was making on his part-time jobs, right? And then I said, okay, cool. We need to replace your police salary also now. Okay. And then so we went for his 3rd property. And then he replaced half his police salary with the 3rd property. And then we did a 4th property. And then at that point, the doctors told Andre that, there's a good chance you probably won't be able to come back to work as a police officer. But Andre was already like, thank God, I'm already receiving income from these properties that I purchased. Yeah. And so make a long story short, I just seen Andre about 2 months ago and he was just like, man, bro, I want to thank you. He was like, bro, not only am I retired from the police department right now, but I have 14 houses And he was like, and he's like, I'm making a little bit under $12,000 a month, net cash flow off these 14 houses. And he was just like, bro, if it wasn't for what you told me, he's like, if you didn't sit there and break that down to me, he was like, man, I don't know what I would have done. But he was just sitting up. He was like, man, I got over $1 million in real estate. And he was like, man, I'm making this money every single month and it's just coming to me. And he was just like, man, I just want to thank you. And he was like, bro, you don't understand how you changed my life. You know, how you helped my family out, how you helped my daughter out, how you helped my wife out. He's like, bro, I just want to thank you. This works. And so it's the same thing, you know, this real estate course is for every single person on this earth.